Hi Aquarius, this is your astrology forecast for February 2016. Thank you for joining me. It's really nice to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's coming up for you. Hopefully that'll give you something to work with so you can maximize the energy to your advantage. So the first thing that's going on here in February is that Venus is in Capricorn in your 12th house and it sextiles Neptune in your 2nd. So what you're really going to be going into this month with is a real sense that your work and what you're doing in your life really has some sort of meaning and purpose. That's really strong in the atmosphere at the moment anyway. It is your birthday. The sun is in Aquarius, so that sense of being of service and kind of being helpful to humanity and thinking on a global scale. A lot of the other signs are impacted by your energy this month, and you really embody that. So you feel very comfortable in terms of your work at the beginning. On the 2nd of February, Venus starts to square Uranus. So what you may start to feel is a little bit of a sense of frustration that not enough is being done, that you could do more. So don't be too hard on yourself. I think you're working very, very hard as it is. Of course, there could be more done, but you know, it's not about feeling frustrated. It's about being aware of that emotion and then taking practical action to actually do something that's going to be much more helpful. On the 3rd of February, the Moon and Saturn, they start to trine Uranus, and they peak this energy in the midheaven and the Sun in your 1st house in Aquarius. So the midheaven is also in Aquarius. That's very much about alignment with work. And I really feel that you're on the right track, and also that you have a sense like you're on the right track. And if you feel that things are going the right way, then I mean that's half the battle. So according to the astrology here, you feel a really strong sense of purpose, of direction. You feel comfortable with where you're going. You want to progress even more. Again, that little bit of frustration can come through. But ultimately, you're doing something that's in line with who you are for right now. On the 4th of February, there's a grand cross in the chart. And this is when 4 squares connect to create a really big square. And that's a little bit of chaotic energy. So this is a day to watch out for. The first square connects your moon in your 11th, then Chiron in your 2nd, your rising in Gemini, and then your Jupiter and North node in the 8th. Okay, so you're going to feel a push and pull between realizing your own hopes and dreams, worrying about money at times on this day, thinking about romantic relationships, whether they're where you want to be, and then finally thinking about how other people think of you in your company, in your business, in your work, or in your community. So you're a little bit all over the place. What I would focus on is your work, and continuing with that feeling of I'm putting the effort in, I'm going in the right direction, I will see positive results from that. On the 5th of February, there's a T-square in the chart, and the T-square connects Chiron and Jupiter. They oppose each other by an opposition, and they form this triangle with 2 squares pointing at the rising sun in the 5th house. Now, the financial side of things, I think you're going to have a real dream of what you could achieve there this month. But I think you may also feel a little bit disappointed at the same time. That doesn't match the reality of what you're doing in your day-to-day life. I think work-wise, you are thriving in your work. I think people like you, people appreciate the effort that you're making. But I think where you're falling down a little bit is you're being very hard on yourself, and you feel like you're not doing enough. That could be because it is the time of Aquarius, in the age of Aquarius, where you really feel this responsibility to save everyone on the planet, and you really can't do that by yourself. So that energy is there at the moment. It kind of peaks with this rising in Gemini, and it doesn't solve the problem, but the important thing for you on the 5th is not to bottle this up, but to communicate what you're feeling. So whatever it is that's going on, by communicating, it will actually have a positive impact by opening a door. So if you talk to a friend or a colleague or someone about how you're feeling, it may be that they know someone or they have an idea or they've got a plan that they then tell you about in response, and you won't know unless you open your mouth. So that's very important on the 5th. On the 6th, there's a yod in the chart, and that's the finger of God, it's called in astrology. It connects your Venus and it connects your Mars. Mars is the archetypal male energy, Venus is the archetypal female, and whenever those two come together, new life begins. So the fact that they're both present in this yod and point at your rising sign in your 5th indicates that by thinking about the kind of work that you do and by thinking about where you want to take it, how you can make that happen in a practical sense, you discover some new way of acting, proceeding, and the idea comes into being, comes into life. So this is a great day for brainstorming and to actually have all of this stuff floating around in your head, because you'll come up with a practical solution that you're going to be very pleased with. On the 8th of February, the new moon occurs, and that's in your sign of Aquarius in your 1st house. So the new moon is when the moon is totally black. It pulls in new information, new energy, and it pulls more Aquarius energy. So this is like you being the Duracell bunny. You get more of the fuel that you need to really operate, to really go, and you're going to feel an extra boost here, and the ideas that you get on the 6th and to some extent the 7th, you'll be able to put into place on the 8th. So this is about things crystallizing. This is your birthday present. This is things coming together for you, and you actually being able to take action on those things. On the 10th of Feb, the moon and Chiron start to conjunct in your 2nd house, and they oppose Jupiter and the North Node in your 8th. Again, this makes you feel somewhat like you're not hitting the mark. I think you're very tough on yourself. It opposes that energy in the 8th. So my suggestion to you on the 10th of February is to look at the actual physical results of your work and not to use an emotional kind of compass too much, because your emotions are constantly telling you you're not doing enough, it's not going the way you want, whereas the actual reality contradicts that. So put that into perspective a little bit, and again, easy does it this month for you especially, because there's this constant drive to be more, to do more. Chiron and the Ascendant, they stop quincunxing each other on the 12th of February, and that's when this feeling kind of eases off a bit. Chiron gives you a break, and you start to kind of get back to normal a little bit. On the 13th, the moon squares Mercury and Venus, and the moon is now moved into Taurus in your 4th house. The moon is what you're nurtured by, what feels comfortable. In Taurus, this connects you really with your body and really bringing things home, so to speak, to the very basics. And then the moon connecting with Venus and Mercury there in Capricorn, and Pluto, which is in your 12th in Capricorn. Making things simple, connecting with something greater than yourself. You will love that process, and that will affect the change that you're actually looking for. So the answer for you, Aquarius, isn't that you're not good enough or that you can criticize yourself into coming up with some great idea. The answer is stop criticizing yourself, bring things back to you, your body, your breath. Connect with something greater than yourself, either through meditation or yoga or prayer, and that's where your answers are going to come from. So that's the way to proceed here. Not beating yourself up, that's going to achieve nothing. And I think that's true, and that applies to everything in life. On the 14th, Mercury goes into Aquarius, so into your sign. So your ideas will flow much more easily, your communication will be much more effortless, and the frustration ends, okay? So at the beginning of the month, you feel like not enough is happening. Possibly, I think you're being overly critical, but from the 14th of February until the end of the month, you'll notice that things are really speeding up. So whether it's you're thinking it or whether it's a reality, either way the problem becomes solved and the pace really picks up and you're able to achieve the things that you want. So this is also Valentine's Day, okay? So in terms of love and romance, I really feel that what you've got going for you in that sector is that you're very honest, you're very open, you're not playing any games, and what you see is what you get. So for you to have a positive romantic day on the 14th of February is absolutely very possible. If you make plans to go on a date or to go out, you'll have a positive, good time, especially with someone who you can communicate with in an open and honest way. So for you to, if you're in a relationship already, you'll be able to get closer to the other person to really speak your truth. If you're in a situation where you're trying to meet someone new, for instance, on Valentine's Day, and you have to put up a facade and you have to do a lot of small talk, that you might struggle with a little bit more, because that's not really being honest, and you're really thinking the deep stuff at the moment, and that's really what your primary focus is. There's also a grand trine in Earth on this day, and a grand trine in Earth means that when you take practical action in any capacity, then the odds are stacked in your favor. Things will look positive. So if you do decide that you're looking for romance, love, by putting yourself out there in some way, taking practical action to make that a reality, the odds are very stacked in your favor. Things can be very positive because a grand trine is always an area of ease and talent. So in Earth, take practical action and you will get a positive outcome. On the 16th of February, the moon opposes Saturn. And the moon is in your 5th house now of romance and children. It moves into that sector on the 16th. So to be honest, the 16th is much more romantic and positive for you than the 14th is, and so is the 17th. So if you can delay your Valentine's Day a little bit, you're going to be in that romantic mood on the 16th much more. It opposes Saturn in the 11th, so you'll be open, you'll be willing to try new things, you'll be adventurous, you'll be fun, you'll be bubbly, lively, all of those good things. So those 2 days are much better for you in that sense. Venus goes into Aquarius on the 17th, and again, any kind of planet going into your sign is going to be helpful to you because it aligns with your energy. So Venus is the planet of love and beauty, and Venus gets behind the causes that you genuinely care about. Helping other people, humanity, science, education, all of those things. And 4 things in your 4th house now. You've got Venus, Mercury, Midheaven, and Sun. Really, the month in itself is a wonderful time for you to get the things you want, to achieve the things you want. Just don't trip yourself up by being overly critical. Give yourself a little bit of time. Also on the 17th, the moon starts to conjunct the rising sign, the Ascendant, and that squares Jupiter and the North Node. Okay, so I've talked a little bit about romance because Valentine's Day, but really, if I had to pick a day for you to look at romantic life and relationships, so either to meet someone new or to have a wonderful romantic time with someone, the 17th is the best. That's when it's naturally luckiest, when things naturally progress the way you want them to, when naturally things go well. That's the day I would pick here in February. On the 19th of Feb, there's a kite in the sky, and this is something that can really bring life, or really something that can really take off for you, okay? And this is about ideas that have to do with overcoming the sense of I'm not doing enough in work. So something has appeared within the last couple of days. By working on that and by looking at it, this can be the solution and the answer to this problem of feeling I'm not doing good enough, I'm not doing well enough. By taking practical action on that, that can be a success, or the success that you're looking for. So you are being hard on yourself, but it's not just being hard on yourself for nothing, it's actually pushing you in a good direction so you can achieve something, and there is potential to achieve. It's much worse when you're hard on yourself and there's absolutely no chance that you're going to have any success. That's, you know, that's tough. That's not the case here. You can have success and you can do very well. On the 20th, the moon opposes Mercury and Venus in your first house. And I think you meet someone who lights you up. On the 20th, you run into someone who is everything to you, who promises everything. And that's a red flag right there. When they promise everything, usually, yeah. So it's totally aligned with what you're looking for, totally aligned with your ideals and your beliefs and values. Then on the 20th, that heightens and you become totally enamored. And then it goes again. So, okay. So something appears in your life that seems to be the solution to every one of your problems. A person that it could meet your every need. A person that is absolutely just the bee's knees, the be-all and end-all. It's sudden, it's unreliable, and it won't last. That's what I'm getting here. Okay, it's a flash in the pan, and it just so happens that you catch a glimpse of really what you have to do for yourself. It's not gonna, it doesn't, nothing like that is handed to you on a platter. It's something that you're seeing within you, and this person that you see, or this thing, is just a mirror showing you the things that you want from yourself. So don't rearrange your whole life. This is important for things that happen on the 20th and 21st that may seem like the best idea ever. It's an optical illusion. On the 22nd, a full moon occurs in Virgo, and that's in your 8th house. And this is much more towards having success and real a sense of flourishing and organization and diligence and achievement when it comes to your work and when it comes to relationships with colleagues and people who are fixtures in your life. So it's far less exciting, but it's far more stable and reliable. And this is a good day for you to spend with friends or colleagues and to have a very nice, productive day, working day, evening, whatever it is. On the 24th, the moon conjuncts Jupiter and the North Node in that 8th house of yours. And that's, again, it's a very positive day for you to connect with people at work, but it's also a good day to uncover hidden secret when it comes to what you want from work. And that's been part of the research that you've been doing this month anyway. So if you still have the energy to keep looking into that, now that the end of the month is rolling on, then keep doing that. You'll get a lot of answers, and then you won't have to be so hard on yourself because you can actually put them into practice. On the 26th of February, there's a T-square between the moon and Uranus, and that apexes or peaks or resolves itself with Pluto in the 12th. So, okay, this is the least positive day for you in terms of education because you're not going to be particularly receptive, particularly teachable, because you'll be very focused on expressing your point of view and doing things your way, and you're not going to be that interested in what other people have to say. So if you have to sign up for a course or study or look at something new, the 26th of February isn't the day to do it. What's going to be much better for you on this day is to get information coming through, not from your ego self, but again, by focusing on something like meditation, prayer, yoga. That's where your true guidance comes from. So a lot of the themes this month, Aquarius, kind of seem like that thing with the relationship, the flash in the pan, and then being hard on yourself and trying to do things. It seems very much like your ego is kind of chipping away at you a little bit, and it's kind of trying to derail you from doing something genuinely meaningful and helpful by keeping you busy with all this like harebrained stuff, which kind of comes and then goes. So really the solution to the problem is to listen to that other more quiet, long-term steady voice of the higher self, and you can get in touch with that through one of those spiritual daily practices. On the 28th, there's a grand trine in water. And this now is a day when you genuinely do get something through your feelings, through your higher self, that is going to be a positive answer to the questions you've had about your career and relationships. Not relationships, your career, and how you can create positive relationships for the people who are affected by your career, so the people you're doing stuff for. So listen for this day and it'll feel much different. It feels calmer, it doesn't feel as frazzled and urgent, and that's something that you can actually take action on. Finally, it's a leap year, so we've got the 29th of February here as well. And you finish the month with a much greater practical sense of what you can achieve in your work and how you can make changes to consistently feel better about it and to consistently feel like you're doing what you're meant to be doing. So the problem that you've got at the beginning of the month, through this whole working through process during February, is resolved, and by the end of the month you'll have a concrete idea of what you can do to move forward. So you can put those things into practice then in March, and you'll make a greater difference, and two, you can lay off yourself a little bit. But all of that again just kind of reflects on what a great sense of responsibility you've got, because some people could care less about the planet or other people and they don't go through this. So again, give yourself a pat on the back for that. You're going to really have a much clearer idea of how you can be of service. So that's what I get for you in February. I hope that's given you something to go on. If you've got any questions about your career or your love life or your relationships or spirituality, and you'd like me to have a look at your natal chart, which is much more accurate in terms of taking the specific time you were born into account and the specific day and the place, then please visit my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab and you'll see the types of readings that I offer. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you next month for the forecast for March. And I'm also here on the channel for the daily tarot readings, which give a daily interpretation of the energy you'll be working with. So have a wonderful February, and I'll speak to you soon.